that actually was the 17th, actually yesterday, if I go back.
That is recent, so
it's very recent.
We'll see what they have learned.
I'm on day 3 now, Pastry. I'm in the next week.
That's true. We have changed dimensions somewhat. We are into unofficial day 3. Team Liquid, like we heard, did select blue side, so we'll see what happens here in the draft. But both these teams fighting to fight for 3rd plus 4th. So will not be done for the day. We'll have to play for 5th plus 6th.
Yep. Spoiler alert, what happened yesterday was that TL beat Cloud9, and it was through the bottom lane, being able to beat up with a semi-global composition and pick on that bottom side. And you can see Cloud9 already getting rid of Galio. I don't think we've seen Galio on 8.5 because he took a nerf to his Q, his primary damaging ability, his Winds of War. They nerfed the mana cost, it costs more, and they nerfed the cooldown, so it actually doesn't reach the previous cooldown it had. It's 2 seconds higher at the maximum rank, but C9 are saying, we just don't want people on our bottom lane.
Yep, and I mean, it's been somewhat a classic thing for Cloud9 if you cast your mind back to last year, but the past is in the past. There's Swain, the final ban for Liquid on blue side, joining Orianna and Gangplank. Galio on you mentioned already. Cloud9 will see what else they choose to target away.
But the Swain was what Team Liquid had actually picked for themselves for Pobelter in the mid lane here, so actually going to deviate from that.
A lot of talking, it feels like, here between Cloud9.
Still a lot on the table. Olleh, Skarner, Xayah, Rakan still on the table.
Shen, Caitlyn apparently is now off the table. Cloud9 leaving a lot up here.
If you're Liquid, I think you first pick Xayah here, and then you force the Rakan as something for them to take away, and it's not as potent. And then if they take that, you can just get Olleh on Alistar, and then if they don't take it, you get Xayah Rakan.
I think especially given how strong DoubleLift has been. Ooh, last second swap up here for Pobelter. Prioritizing mid lane, will actually take Ryze away. So now C9 can have the option of picking Xayah / Rakan, maybe just Xayah here.
Oh, I think you take Xayah Rakan. Olaf and Skarner both on the table. You can pick Cassiopeia later if you want. And I think it's a good duo. And Sneaky and Smoothie have actually struggled a little bit in their last few games, and especially up against DoubleLift and Olleh like they did yesterday. I would say get them a powerful bottom lane combination, and Smoothie loves engaging. I think it's a match made in heaven here.
Certainly seems like it, but yeah, they are going to lock it in. So the discussion from Cloud9 does lead to the Lovers bot lane.
It's a bit of a gambit because they give over that Ryze, and I thought that TL would try to break up the combination, but instead they value Pobelter on this very potent champion, but also it's a takeaway because Jensen's Ryze is always dirty.
Yeah, also where does the pinch come from is kind of the other question here. Liquid went mid, Cloud9 went bot as far as the selections go, so there will be unevenness. Looks like Skarner is the option here for Xmithie, which kind of just pushes Sven, forces him, if you will, into taking that Olaf. So
yeah,
double lanes are going to get some heat here in phase 2 of bans.
Yeah, so picking the Xayah Rakan means you're heavily focusing on your bottom lane. And so TL, they have to pick a jungle, and then they'll pick, I think it would be support here for Olleh, unless they really think there's going to be AD carry that gets banned out later and they want something for DoubleLift. But I would assume support is what they go for here. And then that means on the opposite side for C9, you're picking Olaf or you're picking Cassiopeia to counter, and you're really just focused on that. But you can't get both of those champions here, and one of them is going to get banned away. So either you say Jensen's going to fall down, and he's been doing that a lot, falling down that champion pool. He is okay with the depth that he now has.
Sven also went off in the early game last time they played with this very pick, so clearly comfortable on the champion, but a lot of thought being considered here for the 2. It actually is Jhin, by the way.
Yeah.
They got locked in on the Liquid side, so Olleh kind of the... Ooh, they also want to make a last second swap. They will give Jensen priority in this draft, taking Cassio.
It might just be the fact that Ryze has done so well in the last few games, and Cassiopeia is one of the only champions that really does stand a great chance against him, and is good into the Skarner as well. So they're looking for a beefy frontline here on the rest of Cloud9. But like you said, that Jhin pickup here for DoubleLift, he played it earlier today. It was very good from him. And then also, it just popped up kind of out of nowhere here in the last days. He did get a buff that actually boosted his win rate a lot in solo queue. But it seems like people are now kind of coming around to the idea of, hey, Jhin is actually a really good champion again.
I like the Tom Kench ban there from Cloud9. Olleh still without a support, and he wrecked Cloud9 using that ultimate across the map with the rest of his team. So Olleh kind of the understood ban between these two teams. Very curious to see what Sven decides to go for, and if Liquid will push another ban his way.
Yeah, I think it ultimately came down to Cassiopeia hard counters Ryze, or soft counters in the laning phase. And then there's 3 junglers left up that are still top tier. Olleh, Zac, and Sejuani are all pretty much equal. And up against the Skarner, the Olleh is the one that you really want to take away, but then there's also those other 2. So you ban Zac, you ban Sejuani here, or you ban away a top laner you really don't want Licorice to have.
Well, there is another support ban there by C9, taking away the Thresh. In the back of my mind, I'm wondering, what are the chances Olleh plays Leona? Has seen some play into this matchup specifically, and they do like to be aggressive.
Leona came out as the counter pick to Xayah and Rakan because you can just burst Xayah down. If you reach her, you can stun combo her before she can even R. But I think it might be Alistar that comes out. That would be my guess here. But Braum is also pretty good alongside Jhin to provide a lot of protection.
Yeah, all those options sound pretty good. Beefy, good CC melee support so Olleh can make plays with and also protect DoubleLift and his Jhin. Again, Cloud9 have kind of pick of their junglers here after not receiving any bans. So Zac looks to be the selection here for Svenskeren.
Yeah, Zac a little bit higher tier than Sejuani, ever so slightly now. Mostly because of the fact that the Cinder Hulk plus Warmogs changes means that Sejuani, if she buys Warmogs, which was her first item after Cinder Hulk usually, it actually takes her level 13 to hit the breakpoint for the HP. So it was just this tiny thing. It literally like moves her down like 0.5 on a tier list or something, but Zac was already pretty much equal to her.
Kind of like the mid lane,
Ooh.
top lane gank potential as well as range support for Olleh.
This is an Olleh special though.
Yes,
I remember watching him way back when he was overseas in the LMS on Hong Kong eSports, and he was playing this, and he was one of the first people to really kind of pioneer the build for Morgana, where you put no points in W, and it's all Q and E, and you just do that in the laning phase. You're just trying to get the maximum binding and get the maximum shield. You don't care about shoving the wave at all. It's just kind of like a mana dump or something. And he really, I want to see how he operates alongside DoubleLift here, because Papa Chow played this earlier today, and his black shields were more preemptive or predictive as opposed to reactive. And so it did cost Altec a bit in those later fights for Echo Fox, and now I want to see if Olleh's on top of that Morgana. Legacy pick for this guy.
Well, we'll see. They did ban it, I think, as well as Smoothie.
Hey.
Considering some options perhaps for Licorice.
Oh, he'll do it, but,
Shen instead.
Yeah. They don't have the composition to really play around it very strongly, unfortunately, because it's an equal mid. You're not smashing mid, so you don't have roam potential to the top lane. And then Skarner does out-jungle Zac in terms of pressure. So if you're looking to, get to the top side before a Skarner, fat chance.
Yeah, we'll see what Licorice can do, kind of adding a global as well to the Cloud9 comp. Impact is traditionally very good in this kind of matchups, but I think Cloud9 are keeping it very safe.
Yeah, also, I think if you kind of over-index on that, it becomes an issue where if you have a winning top lane, you have a counter pick mid, and then you have this really strong bottom lane, the jungler can pretty much play to everywhere, but nobody's playing like the supportive role. And I think just boosting your strategy instead of spreading it thinner where you have more winning lanes, but you have a lane that can actually help another lane win harder, I think is a little bit better here, and that's the strategy they went for. So instead of countering the Cho'Gath with the Darius, they go for the Shen to help that bottom lane, which is already a lane that should smash.
Yep, a little less selfish power perhaps for Licorice. We'll see how he handles it. These two teams have been neck and neck. You can see reflected in the scoreline. We'll see this a lot.
Yeah, 11-7. So many teams at this 4. And I have to say, like, this is, we talk about parity in the NA LCS. This is the closest that the standings have ever been coming into playoffs.
Yep, I don't think there's any way to objectively say that is not true, at least for the standings and the numbers, but teams will continue on and try for their playoff seed here. Everyone left to play today is locked in, but where is the big question we'll try and answer now.
You win this match, you move on to that winner tiebreaker, where the winner of that gets 3rd, the loser of that is 4th. But if you lose this, you're locked into 5th or 6th.
What's worse for Liquid? Getting 5th or 6th, or maybe getting 4th?
See, Jack actually threw a tweet out there where he was like, in order to keep memeing, I have to lose this game because TL could then get 4th. So...
But because he likes his team, he's probably not wanting that to happen. All right, everyone spread out here on Summoner's Rift. Nothing too crazy right now. Xmithie just camping his Spire. Smoothie, I think, doing the same on this one. Hanging out in the Pixel Brush.
Get down with me.
And it's just a spread out here. I actually don't think we've seen a good old-fashioned spread for a while here.
Some Quick movement there from Smoothie, gets out under the binding. Spires will be traded. Ooh, and actually an invade starting here. Maybe just for vision, maybe for more. Sven will spot them. Just some vision down.
Ah, that's actually really good because that means that he has to go to the other side of the map now, or he wraps around and he has to get a leash from Licorice. So if they ward up on your Raptors, you don't start your Raptors, but that forces your top laner, which we saw Dokla do, I believe, where he tried to invade to like maybe get the blue buff or something. That forces your top laner to come leash for you, and that allows Impact get a little bit of extra gold here, and you might have to smite this.
Smart stuff here. Licorice is going to spot Impact. Might be able to just run enough interference to not need the smite. Licorice is going to get some good damage down early with the Q, but pretty even across the board, and Sven will get that red buff pretty quickly. Is spotted now on the Raptors, though. That ward did not time out fast enough.
And this match for Impact is really big because, remember, he left Cloud9 to go to Team Liquid to form this super team. And Licorice, the rookie, was his replacement. And you always want to show that, you know, you made the right decision and beat the team that you came from. Impact, remember, it was a little heartbreaking for him before. He first lost to them, but wants to have his team back him up. Remember, DoubleLift said he never wants to see Impact cry again.
And so far, so good for DoubleLift. They did take the last encounter between the two teams. Xmithie, though, is blazing through this jungle on Skarner. So fast, especially with the Spires hanging out. Sven, though, is getting some vision down, does ward near the Raptor pit. And Pobelter getting some damage down. Jensen just trying to hold on for the early Ryze wave clear.
And we've seen a lot of runes just become pretty standard here. We've seen the Presence of Mind become what Azir's and Cassiopeia's run in Precision Tree Secondary, so when they level up, they just dump their mana for wave clear. Predator on a lot of the junglers that need mobility. Then you look at this in the bottom lane. Smoothie, he has that Summoner Spellbook. I like seeing some clever uses of that.
Yeah, again, a big playmaker for the team, so it has way more options now. Did start with Ignite for the aggression. CS looking pretty even in bot. Mid is the same as Sven. He's going to carry through that jungle, but the Krog invade from Xmithie. No real way for Sven to get there close enough in time to try and contest those, so that will be a little advantage there.
Also, puts Xmithie on a really interesting side of Licorice where Impact is mildly freezing the wave in front of his turret. This is a slow push towards Impact, so this gives a kind of wraparound here for Xmithie, but I think Svenskeren, I think they're right out of vision range from each other, so it's kind of just almost right there.
Sven now knows he has to go in. Licorice with a good taunt, trying to get out, good flash, but forced to burn the Summoner. Might keep going here.
Svenskeren?
Yeah, they are going to look to try and at least get a flash, I think, but maybe not too much left to do. Impact actually pretty low from the Aftershock proc by Zach.
Woo! Small things adding up there. Impact really wanted to have something happen with Licorice, or with Xmithie flanking, but Svenskeren cooldown came back off of the E. He's able to slingshot in, and now it's just one of those situations where you're now looking at a frozen wave.
DoubleLift again getting aggressive. You can see binding lines in onto Smoothie. He's going to turn the W1 and turn things back around. DoubleLift continuing to play up and aggressive. CS is even, but DoubleLift at least getting the pressure that he really wants. Looks like TP in for Licorice. Impact will likely do the same. 2 longswords and a ward down for Licorice. Getting himself a little bit of extra safety, but a Glacial Shroud already finished for Impact. A little bit better of a buy, I think.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Having that armor versus those longswords.
Every point matters.
Every point does actually matter. We saw DoubleLift get a first blood. It's like, hey, here's a longsword. Ends up being pretty much what snowballs them in the game from the start when they played against Optic earlier. And I actually want to talk a little bit more about this Jhin because he got buffs kind of across the board. His innate bonus attack damage went up at all levels, so he's always a little bit stronger in the game. And hold on, though.
Great miasma there from Jensen to set this up. Damage still coming down. The slap together. He's going to force a flash, but that's enough. The auto gets it with the poison. Jensen ult to try and dive in. Xmithie getting low. Jensen just wants more. He's sick of the state his team has been in and almost goes for a second dive.
That is a huge wave to miss out on, though. Pobelter used both summoner spells. He can't swap for TP, and then he's going to miss all that CS, which would have put him, I think, even or ahead of Jensen in farm.
You can see Jensen just babysitting this wave, trying to deny as much as possible. Xmithie wants to get in, but it is not safe to do so. Great setup there by the Cloud9 mid laner. Svenskeren, right place, right time. Again, you can see it's going to lose a lot. Pobelter finally back in time, but we'll kind of check back in that with a second. You were mentioning bot lane before, so it's probably a good time to continue to talk about why Jhin has been popping back up in the meta so quickly.
Yeah, his passive with the bonus percentage damage just has gone up at all points, but then the dancing grenade ratio's up, and then the deadly flourish, you can hit confirm it now with your Q, which is huge. But this right here, Svenskeren around the mid lane, the Svenskeren just doing work. They get that first kill on to Jensen, and then right there, if that had stunned Xmithie, Xmithie I believe is dead, or he's gonna have to blow his flash at that point.
Also dodges that next Q, so I think probably the same scenario, had to blow his flash, or he died. So well played by Xmithie to survive, but first blood, well, we haven't seen it too often here for Cloud9 season. They've been doing a lot of good work integrating their new players, their rookie Licorice, and the veteran Sven, of course, changing teams, but hold on to that thought. Invade here from Pobelter and Xmithie.
Yeah, they have priority top lane, and they have priority mid because of the backs that came through. And Xmithie's going to be able to take this red away. So yeah, Svenskeren has to seed it. Sometimes that's just a hard pill to swallow as a jungler.
Is he looking? Fine.
Nice.
It's gonna go. Dazzling Brilliant. It's a little bit of healing onto Sneaky as they shove out the lane. Still lane very even though. DoubleLift will be happy with this. Sneaky does get tagged. Binding not gonna connect. Wave completely reversed back.
Olleh is just forcing them all the way back. As a support, you want to delay the back timer, make sure that you get a better recall. And now Sneaky has to stay because he's going to miss minions if he doesn't.
Yeah, see, actually Smoothie I think staying as well. Sven isn't going down to that side though.
You're going to look for them. And that's the thing is you don't fast push all the time. If you see them, you slow push, waste their time.
Time effectively wasted here. Binding.
Oh! Smoothie took it for him.
Catches it.
It didn't mean anything, but it's the little things that matter.
Yep, and again, going to start this recall. Going to get that bonus recall action. Uh-oh. Never mind. That's it by Olleh. All right, we'll start it again. Time to dance together, but DoubleLift already back and spent his money.
Yeah, Olleh putting points in the W. Doing his
Betrayed you.
His old Morgana build dirty, but it's worth it, right? You need a spell to interrupt. The game is so interesting how, like, people talk about the game being more team-based now, but I think, like, people are just smarter at the game. People are better at the game and know what they should be doing to increase their chances of winning. Like, all the time. I mean, look at Pro, and you go look back at
I was there, Zirene.
VODs from years ago, and you go, wow, that was not a very team-based play.
I have been there since the dark ages, Zirene.
Oh, yeah.
You are a...
You came from down under, man.
Yeah,
just
the
like
darkest of the dark ages. Just this black hole in the world somewhere south of everything.
Oh.
Hey, now though, very sunny and nice.
Yeah.
So, happy. As we'll see Xmithie clear out this control ward.
I mean, it's almost winter there, though.
That's true. That's why I escaped here. It's always sunny. Also.
Yeah, I remember when you came and you were like, I get 2 summers.
I did. It was great. I left as MSI started, and it was pretty hot throughout what you guys would call the fall, what correct people would call autumn.
Oh.
And it was sunny through that, so I got a great summer. Extended for about 10 months, and then it rained here in LA, and I wanted to leave instantly because I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah, it always happens. It's always really sunny here, and then all of a sudden, one of my friends comes over, and it's starting raining. I'm like, what's going on? Anyway, this game, though.
I mean, look at the Jensen still. Gold is even, but he kind of has a lead there. DoubleLift a small lead, along with Impact there in their respective lanes, but maybe it's the farm lead from Skarner that I think we expected, but is maybe the biggest thing here. Yeah,
the Mega Farmer. He's basically a Shyvana that can team fight, is how Skarner pretty much feels in these games. A lot of ganking, too.
That feels pretty good, I'll be honest with you.
But like Skarner, when he first came along, I think I explained this before, where he can do everything pretty damn well, and so it never feels like I have a bad option on Skarner, where other champions is like, oh, I can't gank these lanes, that feels bad, because I don't farm my jungle that quickly. But Skarner's like, I can jungle very quickly, I can power farm, I can gank, I can control the river, I can go ward. Like, there's pretty much no bad things for Skarner to do. And so he always feels like you're doing something correct in the game, or for at least the pace of the game.
Yeah, it feels like Predator really put that over the top, so it's been great to see him hanging out and competitive. DoubleLift still continuing to get aggressive there in the bot lane. So I guess maybe some of the attention we expected to go there has not come out just yet. And even though the CS is even, certainly the pressure and priority is there for DoubleLift and Olleh. So we check kind of back in though. Licorice with the team out trying to play catch up. His CS deficit and Impact's going roaming. Not a bad look here for mid. Also covers Xmithie, who has started the Rift Herald.
I always like to see Impact roaming down from the top lane towards mid. It reminds me of Season 3 SK Telecom. When they first won the World Championship, he would always just roam down to Faker's lane constantly. It was back before people really ran teleport in the top lane. It was play for priority and then roam. And he would do that all the time. One of the first people to really do that consistently.
Certainly been a style that has endured for a long time for Impact and has been successful. Team Liquid more recent weeks. Again, they're into mid lane. Jensen looking for it, but Pobelter gets away this time, does not burn the flash.
And it looks like they really just want to play through mid here and make Pobelter's life a living hell and bring Xmithie here, who just burned the Predator boots.
Looks like assist being called on the Ocean Drake, though. Team have enough bot priority to try and take this. Thinking Pobelter maybe he's called a recall here. No TP, does have his flash, and they did spot Xmithie just behind mid, trying to protect from another regank. So C9, good little move here, will give themselves the first Drake of the game as they pick up the Ocean.
Ocean Drake helps out a lot, especially as the first Drake. Gets you a better laning phase.
Good block from Smoothie.
Yeah, Smoothie's right on top of those. A lot of supports. It's your natural reaction to just dodge stuff, but then having that other sense of, I need to block this, even when you could put yourself at risk. It's big.
Zed, pressure back here now for DoubleLift and Olleh, but turned around enough as Xmithie actually coming through bot lane. TL might spring the trap here. Ooh. Finding Mist, they're going in, but it's a little missed time. Looking for something here. Licorice also riding in Cloud9. Needs to make this work. There's the Storm back, looking for the feathers. Impact already down here, though. Smoothie now a little too far forward. Doesn't have a really dash to get back there to Sneaky. Needs to wait on the cooldown, but it's not going to be enough. Xmithie grabs that kill. DoubleLift now going to open up onto Licorice, looking for Sneaky as they dodge out of the cone, but Jensen, he's far too late for this play. Root lands in. Impact looking for the follow-up CC. The silence just short. No, never mind. It was stacked. Did hit, but no knock-up available, so Jensen gets away.
The idea there from Cloud9 was to have a swift engage with Licorice's ultimate, but the TP from Impact was actually so fast, and he was able to come down there and show up, even though Pobelter was somebody who doesn't have TP and was really kind of just occupied with the state of the map. But hold on, here comes the Rift Herald down from Xmithie, and it's TL playing through the bottom lane. You give them one kill, they're going to start pushing home.
Exactly what we expected here. Rift Herald going to charge in, and I think this turret will be forfeit for Cloud9. See if they share the gold. Impact going to hang out and help clear the waves. And looks like gold will be shared, but totally fine with that for Team Liquid. Getting themselves actually a pretty good gold lead. 2,000 up after that turret take.
And they love to play through bottom lane. It's been pretty much their successful strategy. Day one, they did that with DoubleLift versus TSM, got them that win. And then, last two games they played, even the one that they played against C9 yesterday, it's been through the bottom lane that they've been finding success. I like that from Olleh, facing one way, throwing at the other, and then that's when the Shen ultimate comes in. But you can see, you already have Impact coming in, and Olleh with a fantastic ultimate flash afterwards because he had that Zhonya's or had the Hourglass. Well, stopwatch there to help him out. That really is what bought the time there. So Olleh with the outplay.
Yeah, and Jensen, I mean, get tagged there. Actually wasn't late. I stand corrected, made it down there very quickly for the play, but it was already over by the time he got there. So unfortunately for him, no luck found.
Yeah, because in C9's mind, even if they trade 1-for-1 there and they kill the Morgana, and they trade Smoothie for it, they're going to have a numbers advantage because they actually have their mid laner down there very early on.
Like a swap has been initiated though by C9. And moves Licorice to the long lane. See if TL can get stuff done. Them to play back. His ult will be back up shortly, and he does have his TP, so still able to help with the cross map, but TL should be able to match this, and given their strength in this lane so far, will this be happy going even? Sven now trying to repay in kind. Not going to do so, good binding there from Olleh.
Yeah, and then Svenskeren throws out the sweeper like, did he see me? I don't even think they saw him. Oh wait, no, there's a ward that's on the other side of the tri-brush. So it's right over the wall. I mean, it's not spotted by the control board down below.
Good sense there from Olleh.
Yeah, you see it right there next to Sneaky and Smoothie. Clever position.
I mean, certainly something that Olleh, I think, a lot of good supports have very interesting and like creative ward we don't get to talk about too often. Olleh certainly in the caliber of player that would know that kind of thing, as Pobelter does get a blue buff steal.
Yeah, because they got the bottom turret down via the pressure that they exerted, they get to control the bottom side jungle now with the advantage that they have.
Also, I think wrapping up for mid, yeah, here's the play on the Jensen. Here's Xmithie all the way around, gets rooted up, dragged back around. Who's going to leave him there for DoubleLift to use the shots? The Seraph, though, already up for Jensen. He's going to live. Stand United also helping out.
That was everything. That was the Stand United, that was the flash and the cleanse from Jensen, as well as the Seraph that he had already completed at 15 minutes.
That's some turbo Seraph's action there for Jensen, but enough to keep him alive. I love the look there from Team Liquid as they try and make that play. But Jensen lives this time. Probably not so lucky the next go-around on that game.
Yeah, but that was the flash from Xmithie as well, so no flash pull would be available, but we're finding these Skarners with unique routes. They just go right through mid, they tunnel through, and they just come around and try to pull you.
Tanky enough to make it work. Tinderhawk already done with the Ruby Crystal also there. Similar for Svenskeren, got a Giant Shot and a Ruby Crystal on the other side, but I think Xmithie still has a back to be had.
Yeah. Something I actually want to talk about here, because I have been all over the Ingenious Hunter train ever since it was kind of something where people were running Relentless Hunter still, because Ingenious Hunter is that bottom tier of the domination tree, the last little line, and people were running the movement speed one. And despite there being things like, you know, soft caps on movement speed and such, so I really think Skarner should be running Ingenious Hunter. It reduces the cooldown of Predator and your active items. But here's another layer. If I didn't sell you on this already, it also reduces the cooldown of your Trinket. So you can get 40% cooldown on your wards and your sweepers later in the game. It is actually pretty insane if you can get an assist or a kill on everybody on the map, and it already has a base value on it. So it'll increase your vision score, and with Tracker's Knife being out of the game, it allows you to still keep up a vision type of play as a jungler.
Today I learned Ingenious Hunter affects your Trinket.
Yep.
Ingenious indeed. Svenskeren looking for the play. Who's he going to find? Olleh with the black shield on him, and DoubleLift not in range. Root lands in, but only the binding. Sven tanky enough to be okay. Cloud9 all there for that play, but now have to kind of answer the side lane pressure that Impact and Pobelter are putting out. I think kind of a tough ask here for Cloud9. Looking to get an angle on, but no turrets taken. Trying to make the plays. TL reading them very well. Making sure that they cover all of the attempts at Cena and have it aggression. Still a close game, but TL happy to be up 2,500 gold with not too much happening. Gonna make it a break for themselves as well. Cena got the first Ocean. TL will take the Cloud.
But this really isn't a massive advantage here for Team Liquid. We're mostly looking at that gold being on, I would say, the Skarner with the CS advantage and the kill that he has. Whereas before, it was DoubleLift just crushing, absolutely destroying the game. But he's even items up against Sneaky on this Xayah, who would get a damage boost from the Rakan being alongside him with the deadly cuts on the W. And then also, now there's Zeke's Convergence for Smoothie, who's just going to further boost the damage of Sneaky when Smoothie R's in.
I think at this point, given again how close the game is, despite a good advantage here for Team Liquid, I think earlier in the season we would have said, all right, TL, they haven't snowballed the game. It's probably a little out of their reach, but they have shown a lot more team play. Cloud9 have certainly had a lot of stumbles in the back half of the split, so as this game is a little slower, a lot on the line here as well, as teams are playing for their playoff seeding lives. Kind of curious to think which team does have an advantage in that coordination. I think they're both in with a shot. As
Whoa, what?
Burn his ulti as well. It looks like he's going to dash back in. Should be okay. TP landing in from Impact, I believe. No, cancelled. Ooh,
whoa.
Licorice going to block them. Svenskeren wants to go back in for it. Jensen is going to be here. The left bounce only going to find Xmithie. Damage is decent. Smoothie still dodging up, but Licorice does manage to nab a kill.
He gets it. That was a 5-on-3. There's still split pushes going on for both Impact and Pobelter in the side lanes. And so that was started off from Smoothie, who didn't even use his flash there, but he got dragged back by Xmithie, but it does cost Xmithie's life at the end of the day.
Might cost him a turret as well. Jensen is here to answer, but the 1-3-1, very frustrating for Cloud9, who are just trying to, you know, crack open some turrets. It's a small lead that TL have in turrets, but they're actually using that bit of map geography exceptionally well.
And this was a play started off by Xmithie. He goes in, the black shield from Olleh. That is what ended up making that happen. I thought that you would get charmed before you could get in range for your R as the Skarner, but it was the black shield at that exact moment there. But then Svenskeren goes in for Olleh, throws his Q, not at Olleh, but at DoubleLift, and then he hits Xmithie, and that costs Xmithie's life as he gets pulled back and doesn't have his flash up. It's about to come up now.
Yep, low kill game, but TL still holding that gold advantage. Team still looking for kind of their first bigger objective win here. Good root combo there in onto Smoothie for some poke, but no one there to follow up for a real kill.
That's one of those combos that came out when Jhin came out. It was like, I guess I could probably bind them for 3 days with a Morgana into the Jhin.
I think the original binding is 3 days. I think the next 2 are added by
it's a,
GNW.
you know, we'll call the next one a tiebreaker binding.
Yeah, it's a work week. Ugh. Monday to Friday, just sitting there, waiting for the weekend. Olleh's certainly been on point with his Morgana.
Yeah, it's been so far so good. And right there, though, Xmithie blew his flash when it had just come up. He's just trying to avoid Svenskeren again.
Couldn't do so. And again, teams are playing this one out very slowly. You kind of feel, once again, the tension of the moment here between these two teams. 5th and 6th is a dire and somewhat lonely place.
It also
means into playoffs.
It also means that you're in a very likely position to play 100 Thieves if you move on from that match in the first place. So you always have to think about who your first and your second round opponent is. But right now, like you said, this game is in a really awkward position because even I'm looking at it as a color commentator, as an analyst, and saying, I don't know exactly where you should be playing as both Cloud9 and Team Liquid right now. Your split pushes aren't really succeeding. Impact doesn't have TP, so despite TL being up, don't force anything because Licorice will TP or he'll stand united before you, and you just kind of play this farm game on top side of the map, whereas C9 are like, we need to group up and force something with Smoothie, and it's both teams kind of being like, we still need to wait for some cooldowns, for some pressure, and this is kind of just the duty of the mid laners, that they just go back and forth between mid and top, and Pobelter finally gets that turret.
Does get it, but here comes the attack plus defense from Xmithie and Svenskeren.
Yeah, it's more of this, it's less of an obvious kind of attack, and it's more of a very subtle, slow, creeping advantage that has a high percentage of working and a very, very low percentage of blowing up in your face.
I mean, part of the slowness of this game, I think, is just how closed the map still is. 2 turrets to 0 is an obvious advantage for TL, and it is reflected both in map control and gold lead. But you need to crack the game a little further open, and C9 know that they just want mainly mid-outer to kind of get things going, and TL like, well, if we just deny it for as long as possible, eventually we'll win.
I think both mid-outers are actually around the same percentage of HP right now. Both are really close to falling down. So I expect both teams to play around that. Pobelter now in attendance in mid, and so he'll go between mid and top, and he has the Realm Warp. And I think he's just in a better position than the Cassiopeia is for this 1-3-1. So as TL and as the game goes longer for TL, the 1-3-1 is kind of the winning formula for them because C9 can't really answer all sides of the 1-3-1.
No, again, the gold lead right now, about 2,500 or so for TL, is sitting primarily in the 2 turrets they have. C9, when they get their turrets, will even up that gold. So that's kind of expected gold that you think you'll get. But if you never get them, that gold deficit just sits there.
Exactly. And like right now, they're just fighting over, hey, can we get this Baron? At least control of it? Nobody's really going to bait this. Now somebody has to go topside for C9 to get that wave. And TL are now going to group up in mid, and you see that Impact is here for a few seconds. That's kind of the, you get this window back and forth where you go, I'm here for 10 seconds, then I have to go back down bottom to clear a wave. You didn't use those 10 seconds, see you guys 30 seconds from now. Then you just keep doing that.
I love the patience of TL as well, kind of knowing that if they play the map better than Cloud9, that's probably a pretty good avenue to victory. It's a lot of how they won their last encounter just yesterday. Cloud9 like, well, we have to pull the trigger on a team fight and win it. That's kind of what our comp's built to do. Yes, Licorice is, getting things going in the side lane, but Impact is very good at playing the map as well.
Yeah, and let's talk about small, incremental advantages. Like right now, it means, this is going to sound pretty dumb, but the top lane, they just let a minion wave die. Cloud9 didn't answer a minion wave. That's experience, and that's also gold just completely ignored, whereas Pobelter picked it up. So Pobelter is now getting a small advantage that keeps adding up. So it's like, he missed a wave, 6 more CS advantage for myself. Do you do that 3 times? And now you end up with this lead that we keep seeing between these 2 guys in mid lane. It's because Pobelter can easily answer these waves, whereas Jensen does have to kind of go out of his way to do it.
Yep, you can see that again. 30 CS up for Pobelter, who I believe got first blooded to start the game off. And it's going to get, look at the double hit, but the Black Shield's going to deny pretty much all that, even the binding, just for good measure. I mean, TL defending very well from Zach. It's a tough champion to not get caught by a lot of the time, but Team Liquid kind of know exactly what's up, just playing a very slow, measured game. Not something we would have expected from the early weeks we saw of Team Liquid.
Yeah, it's very methodical. You see that 50 CS up for Pobelter because he's been going between the two lanes and pretty much just answering top every single time. And then Jensen has to go up there out of his way, has the Zac kind of hovering around him now. But then later in the game, hold on though. Oh, good dodge.
Really nice stuff, but there's oh, the charm hit Pobelter. The quickness long enough to get him out of there.
That is just a smooth escape. A lot is spent there though. The flash from Sneaky and both ultimates from them. But they get out scot-free.
This is still kind of that pressure that TL has been building up. Like, T9 just don't have room. They have to keep answering and reacting to Team Liquid's play. So TL eventually look for a play. They don't get anyone, but they get the mid outer, which is probably better than the kill they might have gotten.
Exactly. Opens up the map, and now C9, they get that top turret so they can shove to tier 2s if they want. But now, that'll be another turret going down in the mid lane. The easiest turret to take out of the tier 2s.
It's falling very far behind. Maybe C9 can find a fight.
I don't know, though. This is actually 5 people here for TL.
Yep, let's bounce there for Svenskeren. Knows that he just needed to get out of there.
Yeah, you don't fight that if you're C9 because Smoothie doesn't have that big team fighting ultimate available to him. When you don't have the quickness, you know that you're not starting that fight off on the right foot.
And you can tell that the map is tough for C9 to play because they have a Shen that's still behind playing in this long lane bot side. TL have just had better side lane control, have had better macro to get themselves to this point. And yes, it's a slow, kind of painful looking process, but T9 have continued to build that lead, continue to open up the map and kind of smother C9 here.
Wonder how much gold Sneaky has right now, because if I'm just looking at the items,
it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like 2,200.
Yeah, it's a full item up right now for DoubleLift, but it's just because he hasn't completed the boots, and that's about 2,200 in his inventory right now.
Yeah, he's about 600-700 gold behind from DoubleLift, but certainly DoubleLift still doing well there.
But this is one of those plays where DoubleLift will say, Sneaky hasn't backed, he needs to back, and then they can try to make a play and force it. I remember very clearly he had done this previously and talked about the other AD carry's inventory, which forced a Baron, because I think it was Wild Turtle. He was like, he has to back, he hasn't backed.
C9 just trying to find some traction in this game, but apparently tough to find. Pobelter will even get control of the Scuttle Crab here in the right side. Svenskeren once again, another poke here into top lane.
Yeah, it's just so weird for TL because they don't have their TP on Impact, so any fight you start, you just need to have him roam up. So you'll see Impact without the TP, roams, comes to the top side. Sneaky just back though, spent that gold and going towards that Infinity Edge. So he's still actually behind.
Licorice pretty close to his level 3 ultimate though. It looks like a
looking for Jensen.
On the top side, couple people up. Jensen, yeah, he's going to be the target. 1v3. Can't really outplay this. The ultimate there from Skarner flashes, but he still dies. Licorice stands united. Not enough to let him live. And now Licorice, he's forced to flash out of the way. Cloud9 just can't fight right now. That's going to be 2 kills for Team Liquid.
And the 1-3-1 that C9 is trying to answer, they just get collapsed on. Like we had said, the 1-3-1 for TL is just superior, and that fast collapse onto Jensen, he has no way out of that, even when Licorice tries to help.
Once again, for TL vs Cloud9, it is Globals ruling the day. Cloud9 just don't seem to be able to really answer a lot of this across the map. They tried to ban out whatever Globals they could, but you can see why this Ryze first pick was so instrumental in this game. Sneaky actually in a bit of trouble, going to pull them back as Smoothie gets a quickness onto 2, but that's just a disengage set of ultimates there as both of them blow them, and again, another tier 2 likely going down. Jensen up in 5, Licorice in 10, but they can't defend this versus the full might of Team Liquid.
Yeah, they can't defend it, especially because they don't have a lot of wave clear or very ranged wave clear. So that turret goes down. That is 5-1 in turrets for Team Liquid.
And the plan to get Jensen ahead started off nicely for C9, but the snowballing everywhere else pretty much has been there for Team Liquid.
Like, Jensen can be ahead, but the fact that he has to go to these side lanes because it's just TL playing this almost like accordion type thing where they go out and then they come in for a few seconds, then they go out to their side lanes, and then they collapse back and forth. It runs you around the map, and Jensen is just caught in the side lane because mid-priority goes over to TL for a brief second.
TL capitalizing well on those windows. Svenskeren is going to get himself out of there, clearing a control ward in the back of Baron. A little bold, but again, teams will hold on. Globals as far as those go in the top lane. 50 seconds till Smoothie's ult. TP's up for both though. Oh, sorry, for Licorice's ult. Gonna try and take this turret down finally. This is a big win for C9 if they can grab the turret. But now they actually may get a pick on a Smoothie. Could be even better. It's Xmithie looking for a pick around the other side. Pobelter, I think he's gonna live through this. Gonna pull one back in. It's Jensen, but Pobelter finally goes down. Jensen and Licorice though caught out together. A taunt there on 2 impacts a little late, and Jensen is gonna fall. A trade is not what you want there.
Yeah, the flank from Impact, his teleport was up. He made it to the backside. And now Xmithie, Trying to look.
I mean, where can C9 really run to? The answer probably nowhere. As they're just together trying to find something. Still 4v4. Liquid with their gold lead, playing up with their advantage. Again, another nom. You know, Licorice going to try and make it happen. Sneaky needs to let the feathers rip, but he can't quite get it. Sven now going to try and get away. Sneaky finally ults, getting away from a binding. That could be enough to disengage, but now Baron's a threat.
Oh, binding was used previously, and that would have been another combo there. Now, we'll see what happens. There's possibilities of swapping to things like TP for Pobelter and trying to force something, but it looks like they're not going to do that. They're just going to back and reset the map here.
Clear out the vision, push the mid wave further up, buy more time, which is kind of all they've needed versus Cloud9. Again, a surprisingly methodical game by TL, but extremely well executed.
Yeah, I've been loving Olleh on this Morgana because usually it takes a lot of finesse to make sure that people don't get hit by the Smoothie ultimate. But you see Smoothie decides not to flash and go towards DoubleLift. He goes towards Pobelter, who's too far away from Olleh to get black shielded, and then it's just a lot used there. The snap cast on the Zac ultimate for a knockback. You snap cast it, you don't have to charge it, you just knock the person up for a second, and that disables them for long enough that the Ryze can't get away. And then Impact had already flanked.
Yep, Cloud9 do get everyone else away, but had to blow some cooldowns to do so. And that gold lead is continuing to grow. Liquid up 6,000 gold here in this game. And again, still only one turret. Licorice is trying to take an outer turret. He's got rank 3 ult at the ready, but Impact has just been really good on the timings here. Licorice may get this, but it'll be tough to get back for a fight. C9 going to get collapsed on by the Jhin ult. Just some poke there.
Yep, just a little bit of a love tap there, just forcing Svenskeren away. Has the Warmogs and the HP to get the regen.
Impact is just so tanky.
Oh yeah,
like
he's tanky and he'll shred the other tanks.
1,000 gold ahead.
Yeah.
Licorice right now. I mean, I was kind of wondering to myself, why isn't Licorice being able to do more in this long lane? It's just because Impact's ahead.
Yeah, Impact's ahead about a full item, I would say, because if you look at the inventories, it's the completion of the 3rd item for Impact, and then he also has the components of his next item, which is Warmogs here. So yeah, about I would say a full item ahead in terms of inventory value for Impact. Plus, he's Cho'Gath. He's getting all these extra stacks. A lot of bonus HP.
A lot of gold to spend still for Licorice. We're seeing that again. The pressure continues to mount, finding on a Sneaky. Just some poke. Licorice actually on a great escape right now.
Wait, is that a Baron? They have Cassiopeia.
Licorice, great flash! Blast cones there as well. Ulti's ready for Licorice. They might just go for this.
They have to keep Xmithie out of the pin. They can't let him get in.
Smoothie actually goes for a try to pin, but it's live Xmithie! Oh my god! Steals the Barons and the hope from Cloud9. DoubleLift isn't even gonna die. Sneaky falls instead. Xmithie finally dies. But it's just not gonna matter. Pobelter is here. The damage is more than done by Team Liquid. Svenskeren gonna buy some time with the passive, but my goodness.
That was huge. The black shield from Olleh, stopping the engage there, stopping the Smoothie ultimate. And Xmithie flashed in, he suppressed Svenskeren, so Svenskeren cannot smite. When you're suppressed, you cannot do anything. Watch here, the black shield will come out. Boom, goes, flashes, suppresses Svenskeren. He cannot smite in that state. It gets down to 500 and he picks it up. That is a steal if I have ever seen one.
Huge heads up play there for Xmithie. And then the rest of the team fight's just like lost. There's nothing you can do from this point really. TL too far ahead. Too many good chasing tools and they just nabbed, I think 2, maybe even 3 kills almost on the Cloud9.
Yeah, you are right. It is the 2 there. They count the Baron as a 3rd if you want.
I mean, look, TL will take it. Doesn't matter if they only got 1 or none. They're happy to get the Baron. Cloud9, I think a bold play that was worth going for, but TL just ready with another answer. Their reactive play has been so good in this kind of mini-series that these two teams have played. This game and the last one they played yesterday.
Yeah, TL. They have been putting on a bit of a clinic in their last few games. They've won 3 in a row, whereas Cloud9 opposite. Cloud9 have lost 3 in a row. And different trajectories. If you think back to the first half of the split, Cloud9 was in that same boat as Echo Fox, 8-1. They looked like a shoo-in for a first round bye. And they looked like they were way ahead of everybody else. But the stumble at the end of the season for both of the top teams that looked like they were indomitable Now we're playing those tiebreakers.
Understandably, it hurts most when you trip right at the end of the finish, right before the finish line. Cloud9 behind 7,000 gold or so. A Baroned up Team Liquid looking to siege. Trying to expose some of these turrets. No Banner of Command up, but probably not needed. I tell a lie, I believe Olleh has one. He does. But that Baron cannon isn't doing work here. Shen moves in, smites it, good play. Pobelter, they're also guiding minions into the mid lane. I mean, really, for Cloud9, what do you do but try for an engage? But you're so far behind, it's probably not going to work. See if they want to give up at least one inhibitor turret.
It's mostly just stalling here and trying to farm up. They do have Cassiopeia, they have Xayah Rakan, which can always just instantaneously, if Olleh is too short or too slow on throwing out the black shield, if you test him with that, you might be able to pick up somebody like DoubleLift in one fell swoop. And that's, I think, what they're kind of banking on here is a surprise attack. Svenskeren could charge up and jump in. The same thing for Smoothie. You have to kind of watch out as Team Liquid, regardless of how far ahead you are. Your backline is still very vulnerable. Whoa, speaking of vulnerable!
The target, gonna go back in, maybe a little early, but Jensen just eats so much damage. Double doesn't quite find the snipe. Let's bounce channel, but Pobelter flashes out of the way. It's chaos under the turret. Heroes of Redemption will bolt to the tower and have Smoothie. He's gonna get out. Team Liquid, no kills, but they'll just take the turrets instead.
Yeah, Jensen thought he was safe because he had a Banshee's fail. And he had Flash and Cleanse. He does get out, but that is the base absolutely destroyed.
Make it 2. They prepared mid. They already did the work with the Baron Cannon in the bot lane. So 2 inhibs down. Team Liquid, methodical and decisive as they look to seal away Cloud9 and fight for a spot in 3rd or 4th.
And that fight, despite nobody dying, is very massive because these summoner spells, Pobelters, Jensens, they mean a lot because we have an Elder Dragon in 1 minute and 30 seconds. They will not be back up in that time. We'll see that one more time. Grabs Jensen. Looks like the Banshee's Veil was down from earlier. He gets the shield from the Shen. He gets the cleanse on the root. And his Seraph's Embrace is just blasted through. And Smoothie eats a lot of the shots here. 3 of them, and then dodges the last one from DoubleLift. Still very close. That's a clincher.
Super well played by Cloud9, but again, the advantage Liquid have just mean it kind of doesn't matter. Almost 10,000 gold ahead, looking at 9K right now. I mean, this is the doomsday scenario for Cloud9. You have 2 inhibs down, Elder Dragon spawning in 50 seconds. Like, what do you do, given how well Liquid have been playing? Not much is the answer to that question.
You get 20 seconds to clear minions away from your base. Then you really do have to be in attendance. So what they do is they shove mid, they ward up the Drake so that they can see what's going to happen and what TL is positioning for. They have to clear bottom, clear mid, and then push if they want to even contest it. And they do have the ability to do so. I think that right now, in terms of the cooldowns they have, Smoothie, if he's able to find DoubleLift or Pobelter and Olleh can't get that shield off, then that would be a win for them. But it's still so hard to do. Olleh has been on top of that. And even TL has just been going for engages right here.
Yep, looking for it again. Why not? Svenskeren forced to get out, but he gets rooted. Elastic Slingshot goes on stop, but he gets popped in the Bloblet.
You have to TP if you want to save him.
No point at all. TL makes a good play. DoubleLift gets a kill into Svenskeren, and they're back straight to the Elder Dragon.
Yep, so that's the Elder Dragon going over to the team that has 3 Drakes. And then Baron in 1 minute and 20 seconds. So if the game isn't over by then, TL, they have another neutral objective to pick up with the power of this dragon.
Yep, I think C9 know they can't defend, so just go back and clear out the super minions that they can. It's going to be one desperate engage coming right up. Cloud9 here, or it's just TL snowballing the game. In fact, they're going proactive again, looking for the pick on a Sneaky. Ult for that damage is insane. Finally gets his way out of there. Smoothie dashes back barely.
Oh, the shots!
Oh, got a block. Licorice.
What?
No!
What?
The curled around. Not enough far forward. Maybe the splash killed him, but that is a heartbreaker. Smoothie gets sniped by DoubleLift.
Man, is that William or is that Angelina Jolie? What is going on?
DoubleLift looking flashy regardless of who. Sneaky again eating damage. DoubleLift is a monster on this Jhin, especially with the Elder Dragon helping out. Pobelter as well. Maybe might have 2 deaths in the column and only 5 assists, but my goodness is he doing damage. Cloud9, 4v5 trying to defend. Team Liquid want to end it now.
Yeah, TL want to put themselves in a position to get 3rd or 4th here.
Memes aside, Team Liquid will be happy to take a win here. Cloud9 trying to defend, but Nexus Turret 1 has fallen. A suppress in. Again, Team Liquid starting the fight before Cloud9 can even think to react. Licorice dead for far too long. The Nexus turrets will force Svenskeren. Fakes a potential slingshot in. TL play very safe and they'll take down the third in here, but it just doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Team Liquid have smothered Cloud9 in this game.
Here comes the open up. Finishing touches here.
Drapes look good. House looks in order. Feng Shui is all there. And oh my goodness, Smoothie almost sniped in one by DoubleLift. He's back to the fountain. Svenskeren unstoppable with no passive. Will fall to the onslaught of this Jhin. Sneaky burns the ult, but the Nexus is exposed. And Team Liquid will move forward here as they play for playoff seeding.
And they will be very happy with the form that they've been in. Their last 3 games, they have just been destroying their last 4 games in a row here. They are peaking at the right time.
Beautiful things about any sport, Zirene. It does not matter how bad you have been doing. If you make it to the postseason, you can win it all.
And I'll also talk about the flip side of that. It does not matter how well you were doing before. If you aren't playing on that day appropriately, if you are not in top form, you're going to get passed.
Winning matters, but winning when it matters even more, Zirene.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Pastry.
Well, hugs will be exchanged. Impact hugs his own teammates, but you have to know there's a big smile inside as Team Liquid. One more tiebreak to play, don't forget.
Yeah, they have to play one more for that 3rd or 4th place. But Cloud9, this team 2 weeks ago were tied for 1st place up against Echo Fox. They were tied at the top of the standings. Now Cloud9 going into playoffs are locked into 5th or 6th.
Not a good spot to be in. They've been there before, but they would rather not be. Have to think that they know a playoff bye was possible, but the last week for this team has been not good, and the opposite for Liquid, certainly. I mean, I'm just amazed at how quickly the team feels like it came together, but I have to say, DoubleLift, probably right. You know, they said they weren't in their final form. Well, they've certainly hit it now. To hear more about Team Liquid's winner, let's send it over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much. PastryTime. For the first time this split, Cloud9 doesn't occupy one of the top 2 spots as Team Liquid hands them a loss in our first tiebreaker of the 4-person, 4-team bracket for 3rd.
That's the craziest thing about all this. All Cloud9 had to do for a playoff bye was beat FlyQuest this morning with all the work they had done.
Yeah.
And now they have to play another game to see if they're 5th
or
6th.
That's not good. I mean, that's insane, right? So to slide from 2nd to 5th or 6th. Team Liquid, on the other hand here, has just earned themselves either 3rd or 4th place. They'll be playing the winner of TSM Clutch Gaming, which is to come next. But if we break down this one, I know Champion Select was somewhere we were looking with a few questions around what was going on.
There's a lot to dig into here, starting with the Swain ban. This is a pretty good decision to make because anytime you're on blue side, you don't want to leave up 3 OPs. There was Xayah, there was Swain, there was Skarner, Olleh still a little bit, as well as Ryze. So they ban out the Swain. That leaves the Ryze, Xayah, and then the Skarner, Olleh position. And they take the Ryze first pick, which was really surprising.
Yeah, because with those bans, everyone was expecting them to go Xayah because then you're blocking the Rakan from the other team. It means you can delay your Rakan pick with Xayah Rakan. They deprioritized that instead to go for the Ryze, give over Xayah Rakan, and then they just go for Jhin. Because DoubleLift has been smashing on Jhin. Their setup has been amazing on Jhin. And I think there is some smarts going on there because Licorice isn't that good at tanks, and big tanks are what's bad against Jhin. And then the fact that once the bans came through that Morgana was still up, I do think was a miss by Cloud9. I think they should have dropped the Thresh ban for the Morg ban, because I do think that Morg is not only one of Olleh's best picks, but also one of the best picks you have against Rakan.
Yeah, as well as the fact that TL's bans in the second phase were very good. First, they banned off the Olaf to get rid of that even matchup between the Skarner and him. So they're forced onto Zac, a weaker matchup, gets outpaced in the early jungle. And then they also ban out the Gnar, one of the few things left up that's very meta and strong into Impact's champion pool. They're able to get rid of that one, which forces that tank versus tank matchup in the top lane.
I mean, that said, it's not like Cloud9 ended up with a terrible composition. You got Xayah, Rakan, Zac, Shen, Cassiopeia. Those all scream, A to S tier champions in my book.
Right, but they are going to lose this game if they don't blow up the early game. The Xayah, Rakan, Shen need to combo together and make big big level 6 plays in the bot lane, but that is exactly Licorice's weakness with this team is, well, it's not really fair to put on Licorice, but the team's weakness is getting their top laner involved.
Yeah.
Right.
In the meantime, if you don't do that, Ryze will get unmatchable in the side lanes, which is how they made a massive gold lead this game, despite only having 1 turret up and like 1 kill.
Right, you made the joke, too, at the end of the game. It was an 0-2-3 Ryze, and yet he was terrorizing
Just
everybody
walking through
on
everyone,
Cloud9.
man.
I mean, it's absolute insanity. But again, more questions to be raised around the top 2 teams, Echo Fox, Cloud9, and the slipping that they're doing here at the end of the
Not
season.
top
and
2
this whole,
anymore.
exactly, not top 2 anymore. And who's even to say, right? 5th, 6th. You know, at this point, it's all kind of up in the air.
I mean, if you're looking at teams you want in the first round, out of nowhere, Cloud9 has probably become the, like, I want this guy. This
Right,
is
you
who I
want
to draw.
3rd, hoping they're going to lose the next game, you know,
Yeah.
plop into 6th.
They're 3-7 in the second half if you count
include
this
that
tiebreaker
game,
Yeah, and their wins are also against Optic, Golden Guardians, and Clutch of all teams.
Yeah,
But
they've lost to everyone else.
Now, this
That's
leave...
not promising at all.
No, not in the slightest. This does leave TSM versus Clutch Gaming next to see who will challenge Team Liquid and who will challenge Cloud9. That game coming to you guys after the break. But here we have it. I mean, Cloud9, you know, is to some degree kind of a funny situation in that there was all the talk about losing in the offseason, right, and whatnot. But then, hey, they come through, they smash. They're sitting in 1st or 2nd for all 9 weeks, and then the wheels fall off.
It's hard to say exactly what this team's mentality is because a lot of what we see about them is memeing. They're memeing on social media. You hear the mic checks before the game. They're memeing, and it's great and it's funny. And then it's like, you guys are slowly falling apart. And I would like to think, and it's obviously going to be behind closed doors, the serious discussions, but I hope those are happening.
Yeah.
You hear 100 Thieves about how they had a serious talk to turn things around. You hear TL saying similar things. Clutch Game, like a lot of teams have to have very, very serious discussions about how to play the game out. I hope C9 is doing the same thing.
Because I do think, specifically in the little middle part of the season where they're saying that they're trying some new strategies, I think it's a smart thing to do, but you still have to be able to play your best thing at the end of the season.
Right. If you index too heavily into finding new strategies that you become unpracticed in a standard method of play, you're ultimately hurting yourself in the long run.
I think that's something you could look at TSM at Worlds as having a bit of a symptom of that, where it's like, yeah, we practiced Galio for 5 weeks, and we finally learned the Galio strat, and then Worlds rolls around, there's no Galio picks, despite it still being meta.
Right.
You know, like,
and then what do you do?
spend that time
You only
doing?
had 1 play. Now it's out the playbook. On the flip side, Team Liquid, 4 wins in a row here. If you take last week, their 2nd game in Week 8, these 2 games here, regularly scheduled in Week 9, and now another win against Cloud9. So, you know, turnaround for these guys, as we were kind of talking about the super team that looked not so super.
And this is the thing as well, like when C9 said that they were going to try different things and that maybe they'll turn it on when they want to, TL tried those things, said it didn't work, and then a week and a half ago, DoubleLift in an interview said exactly what they were going to do. He's like, we're going to go back to takes in the top lane, we're going to do some priority picks bottom, we're going to gank bot, and I think we're going to win a lot of games. And they just did it.
Going back to the fundamentals.
They called their shots, they went on a big winning streak. This is what their best strategy is. This is what the team will be in playoffs. It's just a matter of if someone can stop it or not.
Team Liquid with the win, C9 with the loss. Up next is the tiebreaker number 3, TSM versus Clutch Gaming. See who picks up the win after the break.